So as a member of the Weather Underground, Kathy Boudin helped kill 3 police officers, including the first black one on his local police force. Her crimes left 9 kids without dads. She is scum, which is only fitting that now, just like her terror pal Bill Ayers, she has a comfy job on campus. Yep, Columbia University hired her. In America, terrorists get tenure and victims get forgotten. That's because in our contaminated culture, those who control it are winning. Consider Robert Redford's new flick, The Company You Keep. It's about a weather undergrounder on the run from a journalist. Yeah, as if journalists would chase a radical, maybe for an autograph. Now, for a movie like this to work, you focus on fury, not facts. Passion excuses heinous behavior. Could Redford have done a movie on the 3 dead cops? No, not even Roy Hobbs could sugarcoat that reality. The Weather Underground killed innocents and tried to bomb the Pentagon, but Redford fabricated his terrorists so he can ditch the truth. FYI, I have not seen the flick. I made a vow not to see any film that induces vomiting. And so we see how Hollywood preserves the illusion that radical violence was noble by replacing the gore with lore. When thugs pit themselves violently against society, somehow Hollywood always favors the thugs, as Redford said to a gushing George Stephanopoulos on GMA about the violence.
Much for what was going on.
Even when you read about bombings?
All of it. I knew that it was extreme, and I guess movements have to be extreme to some degree.
But wait, what if they had bombed the theaters showing your movies, Robert? I guess the way your films have fared lately, bombing a bomb is redundant. You know, KG, what if a Hollywood director decided to do a nuanced take on the KKK?
Yeah.
They could be construed as violent revolutionaries. Why doesn't somebody do that now?
Well, because that wouldn't be PC. There's a certain list of things that they feel is okay to be a revolutionary or to be a communist or somebody who's, for overthrowing essentially law and order and government. They think it's okay to do so if they believe in their cause. I mean, in this particular case, I don't understand. I feel like Robert Redford is confused, because he shouldn't be glorifying this in any way, shape, or form. These were essentially domestic terrorists out to destroy the very fabric of law and society that we have, and they were murderers, and it's shameful.
Bob, there always tends to be a trend among, I know you get mad when I say the left, but they tend to romanticize protesters to even the extreme of the violent type. Why is that? Why is it?
Well, first of all, let me make a mention about Kathy Boudin for a second. This is a woman who did a heinous crime. There's no question about it. But she served her time. And in America, when you pay your debt to society, you have a right to go out and be free.
And get tenure at a professor?
I'm fine. I have no problem with it whatsoever. I'm sure there are a lot of people who committed heinous crimes when they were young who probably have pretty good jobs. I just don't think it's up to us to decide what the legal issue is here. If Columbia wants to hire her, she paid her debt and she could. Now, in terms of the radicalization, I was a part of the anti-war movement in the 60s and 70s. There were a fringe element of the anti-war movement that were giving us a bad name, and not the least of which was the Weather Underground. But all people who did that were not that kind of people, and I would hope Redford's movie would make that clear.
Well, she should still be in jail.
So why?
So
she paid her price.
So Bill Ayers, Weather Underground founder, is at the University of Chicago. His girlfriend Bernadine Dorn is at Northwestern Law, and now Ms. Boudin is at Columbia University. What? I don't want my kid learning from a radical activist.
It's a good idea. Take those schools off your list.
No, but Bob, why
There's a lot of schools you got to take off.
That's the
Put
problem.
these people in high-profile positions at major universities that are really shaping thought of our young people.
Is there a shortage of non-terrorist
What's funny
professors?
about that?
I just find that this assumption that you all have that every college, and I shouldn't say you all, you and Greg particularly have, of all of these universities and colleges being dominated by radical leftist professors is just
But the thing
not
is, it's
accurate.
like I think there's something more interesting here about how networking and the revolving door can work when it comes to academia and, in particular, liberals. So she's not teaching a political science class, okay?
Right.
She's teaching a social work class about what it's like for families to deal with all the trials and tribulations after a person who's been in your family comes out of jail. I guess she has a little bit of personal experience in that, but the left found her a job.
Right.
Okay, like if you can find a place in academia to get tenure, that would be it doesn't matter if you can teach on the merits of something or not. She's not teaching about political science or what
she's
they're
a hero to them.
glamorizing. They're not. The baby boomer revisionist history of what happened in the 60s is coming to full light. And Robert Redford, you could either go to Hollywood or you could go to academia.
Yeah.
It's not really, well, we say revisionist history. I mean, again, I repeat, not
Well,
a small
she killed-
let's
percentage
look
of
at the CBS example.
She did. But listen, can I just,
Why are we
never mind.
acting like this was okay? I don't care if she
It's
served
not
her
a
time or
question of
not.
acting if
She,
it's
to me,
okay.
is a criminal,
question
disgusting
it's
human
a question
being.
of whether she
that school
was
should be
allowed,
ashamed
it
of
was
themselves.
legit for her to take that job, and it was. But let me ask you a question. Why is it, if conservatives are so upset by college campuses, why don't more of them go into teaching?
That is
Great question.
It's a great question. Or why don't we just get those students out of there sooner rather than later?
No, but
Because
seriously, why? I keep listening to right-wing
Maybe they-
It's the same with
radio people
politics.
talk this stuff. Let them go out and get into college.
Have you ever seen a conservative try to speak on a college campus? What happens?
Heckled.
To them?
Right.
Or they're invited and then disinvited. What did the young Republicans had to apologize for inviting Ann Coulter
So
to speak?
let's get this straight.
Yeah.
The captains of business, of industry, of Wall Street, of finance a lot of them are conservative, yet they're hiring people they're actually requiring people, their new hires to come from some of these schools, most of these schools.
I wouldn't go back to
Stop doing it.
The university I went to,
Good
I was
point.
asked several years later to go and give a commencement speech. And as I was being introduced, I was insulted for being a Republican right before my speech in front of the entire school. Like, why would I ever want to go into academia?
Yeah, don't be left out. I went to give a speech at Claremont McKenna in California, and from the moment I got out of the cab, so I finished my speech, I was not.
But
they were
Bob-
nice people, but
Bob, what were you doing there?
Well,
No, because that's really not, like, a safe place for you to go.
That story about the dean's wife was not true.
The
Oops, he did it
interesting thing
again.
is, didn't Bound do all this in support of the Black Liberation Army, and they killed a black guard,
Right.
a black cop. And also, I just want to let Redford know that the Manson family, they still need a really good movie, and maybe you can do something on the Unabomber too, because they were all radicals, revolutionaries.